So we have gold here. Very crazy trade, very crazy trade. But I want to start off with where actually all started from. So we was looking at this area initially. Okay, we was looking at this area initially. We broke structure here. You can see our kind of accumulation taking place on the smaller time frames through here. Again, made that down candle, the engulfing candle left that signature gap. So within that signature gap, was looking at some potential buys or potentially coming into here and then doing our thing. Okay, we all know why we're looking at the area. So we knew it was going to be the gap or here. And we had a lot of IPA stuck in this area also. Okay, we was also looking at potential sales from this area as well. Okay, we had smaller time frame entries where I was looking at. Okay, simply scroll back on the 15-minute. We've got that signature move happening there also. So that was our target. We wanted to just come up into that area and potentially sell back down. So as you can see, when I hit the next frames, we tap into our area perfectly. Okay, so it's catching some buys at this area now. Okay, kept on doing its thing. Okay, as you can see, very extreme price action. So now we've tapped into the area that we actually wanted. So within a space of 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, okay, we managed to get that 160, 170 pip move. Okay, and it didn't stop there. It went straight past the entry point. Went straight past the entry point, and then from there, and I remember because I was on a client call at this time, boom. Okay, so always take 80 to 70% profits once you do tap into these IPA areas or into these areas over here. Okay, take 80% profit, which, yeah, you should always do for reasons exactly like this. So at least you know you secured a little bit of the bag, and not a little bit, but a majority of the bag. And then if anything like this does happen, because you're ready to sell in these areas anyway. Okay, so once this does happen, crazy move, boom, comes all the way back down within an hour, then you secure the bag and you're good to go. So this happens. Okay, so things start to develop from there. Okay, things start to develop from there. We go even lower. Okay, we create more liquidity. We've taken out this internal low here now. Okay, this internal low has now been taken out. Done. Okay, liquidity was all built up here and here. Okay, especially here from the New York session, and this was created again the same time, the New York session the next day. So we see this time and time again, the 2nd of August, the 3rd of August, exactly the same time. This price in here comes in, cleans it out completely. Okay, so again, what time does this happen? Again, as soon as the New York session opens, prime New York, boom, we head down, create more liquidity. So now many people are looking at this thinking, yes, we're definitely going to buy from this area. Again, as my clients know, the students know, that's the red zone. We don't do that. Okay, you definitely don't want to do that, because things like this will happen. Okay, you might get some confidence. You might think, yeah, it's going back up. Okay, it's going back up. Okay, it's doing its thing. Staying there for a couple of hours. You start adding more and more trades into it. Okay, and all of a sudden now we start to get this breakdown. Okay, we start to get this breakdown. Before you know it, boom. Okay, everyone in here has now been cleaned out perfectly. Okay, so which leads us into the main trade itself. So at this point now, we've now broken structure. Once we broke structure within that area, I start looking at this thinking, I did initially want to come back up into this area to fill, okay, wrong tool, to fill all this IPA in this range, because that's definitely not healthy price action, not healthy price action at all. We've got a nice supply zone over here also. So I was thinking, yeah, for sure, that will make sense if we came back into the supply zone here. But as I always say to students as well, we go into the smaller time frames. We want to see the market structure. We've just broken structure here, meaning we know there's going to be a pullback, but how far does that pullback go? Like I always say to the clients, focus on what's in front of you. And simply, what does that mean? As you can see, I've already got this yellow area highlighted here. So what do I mean by that? If we wanted to fill this gap, this IPA, whatever you want to call it, okay, we need to cross this supply candle first. Whatever happens, this supply candle has to be annihilated. Okay, it has to be annihilated first before we can push past. It's like a gateway. It's like a checkpoint. And that's why I call them checkpoints. Because if you wanted to move higher into this area here, we have to cross this checkpoint. So that becomes my main focus, because we just broken structure here. Okay, we just broke structure here. So now I understand that we now have a gap also through here to here. Okay, and I'll just zoom in for you guys. Okay, so from this area now, I know there's this gap. And usually how we play gaps is we measure from that wick to this wick, 50%. So we know from here now, if we did want to play this, we could do a short position from there, okay, put it just above the IPA, okay, so about 15 pip stop, and then take it down as far as you want to take it down. So we see that happening. Also, we know this is still here. So now we've got 2 points of interest if we're considering a sell, either from here or from here. So we see this. Let's just take a step back. If we do sell, we always need a target. We always need somewhere to take profit. So if we was going to take profit and we sold from there, first target will be this, because again, the same liquidity areas. So we know that's TP1. We look further adrift. We now say to ourselves, if we fell past this, what's going to stop us in this area? Nothing's going to stop us because there's no gaps. Okay, everything's very healthy, clean price action until we get to here. There's a gap right there, H4. We've also got the demand over here. Okay, prior to that, I remember the previous week, we caught a nice buy here, just understanding our Wyckoff schematics, but that's for another video. So we see this happening. So we knew if we do take out this area, there's nothing stopping us until we get into this IPA or this demand zone here. So we knew best case scenario, we could minimum come down into here for about 470 pips. Okay, we look further adrift. And this is what I always telling my students and clients, I always think best case scenario. Okay, so I'm not sure if any of you actually remember this, but back in March, okay, I remember we started looking at some potential buys from here, and some of us caught it from the bottom, some of us caught it in around this area, some people got in way late and got in over here, but it's still very, very, very good trading. So since that happened, and like I always say, there's going to be gaps left in the market. It's going to interact with the market at some point. We don't know exactly when, we just know it's going to happen at some point. Okay, so I left that IPA there. Okay, I've left that there since, again, about March, April. Okay, we've known there's a big IPA there that needs to be filled. Directly under that, prior to that, we also had this target zone over here. Okay, so we knew if this IPA does get filled, one or two things can happen. It could either come into here and go straight back up, or we could clean out this area completely. So again, we're here at this time. And I'm starting to think, if we do take out this area, that'll be nice. We come into this IPA, that'll be also nice, okay? 400 pips. And then I think best case scenario going down again. And again, we saw this gap here, okay? But that's not as important as this one here. Okay, so we saw that. So now we knew if we are to take this trade, we could clean out this area for about 180 pips, come into this area about 470 pips. We come into this IPA over here, about 910 pips. And if we come into this IPA over here, 1,200. And if we take out this area here, 1,300. Okay, very, very aggressive trade. So now we know our targets and best case scenario, understanding that if this structure holds of being bearish, that could potentially happen. Again, if we take another step back, why do we think that could potentially happen? Because we have broken structure straight through here. Okay, structure has been broken. We've got that breaker structure right there. And every time we do break structure, what do we expect? And I'll just put this at the top. When we do break structure, what do we expect? We expect some kind of pullback. So if I take my fib from that low to this high, as we know, we've clearly broke structure, we've clearly filled this IPA here, we expect some kind of pullback. So we've done 62% so far, which is the golden ratio apparently, right? Retail traders say this all the time, but as we know, the institutions know that's just a trap. They do that on purpose to get people into the other side of their trade. So 62%, nearly 90% of the trader community is going to jump into a trade. I mean, sometimes it will work, but other times you will get clapped for sure. I mean, this is not a bad trade at all. This is not a bad trade at all. If you're moving this about 700 pips for retail traders, not a bad trade at all. And yeah, some of us did look at that as well, took some buys, but we understand when to do it and when not to do it. So we knew it was just going to be a short-term pullback into one of these areas, and then we're going to fall down again, because we know the institutions, the big players in the game, they want the best discount possible in the market. 71%, 79%, 89%. So we knew at some point they're going to drop back into this area. We just didn't know exactly how it's going to happen. And again, that's just the bias of how we look at the market. We know it's going to happen. We just don't know exactly how and when it's going to happen, but we just get prepared for it and we follow the market. We follow the trends, follow the market structure, and we do our thing. Okay, so we see this. Okay, we see this all the time when you're looking at these things. Okay, when you're looking at these things, it just makes sense. Okay, it just makes sense to come down into these areas. So when we see this, we start planning. Okay, we go into our smaller time frames again. So come back into our H1. Okay, come back into our H1. So we know that's the area I was interested in. We go into our 30-minute. We see that candle over there. We go into our 15-minute. Okay, we see that candle even more predominant. We go into our 5-minute. Okay, it's the same kind of candle again. So now it's waiting for one or two things. Waiting for one or two things where we see this. Okay, so again, I'll hit the slow because this happens quite quickly. Okay, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this thing. Okay, so now we've come into, boom, our 50% IPA. At this point, again, it's not my preferred entry, so I don't execute it straight away. I want to see signs of distribution so we can actually take this down. Okay, you want to see signs of that distribution. Did I see signs of distribution? No, because boom, the next candle does that. So I know there's still some price action to be left and desired to fill. So we see this here, there's still some gap. So the next candle totally fills that gap. So I'm still potentially waiting for this candle to happen, but I know this gap has now been filled. So we could potentially drop as soon as that gap has been filled. So we hit the next candle. At this point, and this is not a usual technique I do, especially at this time of the day. Okay, once it's 5 o'clock UK time, I'm kind of not interested in the markets no more because that's when we start gearing up for kind of the Asia session to kick in. So not much usually tends to happen at this time. There's also a risk that we haven't broken structure below this. So again, this is what I'm saying. It's not usually a trade I take. But when I measured it up and I looked at it, I said the IPA has been filled. We've kind of come off the remorse areas. And I was thinking, what if it stays below? What would I be risking if I traded this? 8 pips, okay, maybe 12 pips. I said, through here, I said, you know what? 7 to 8 pips should be okay. So we hit play, candle goes down. And I'm thinking at this point, it's going to break structure just below this. But no, where does it come back into? It comes back into this. What am I willing to risk? 8 pips. And you guys already seen where we said we could potentially take it all the way down to. Okay, so now I'm risking 8 pips. At the time of the day, I don't usually trade, but I thought for some reason, let me just take this trade. I don't know what it was. Something just told me just take this trade. I usually don't trade at this time of the day, but just take this trade. So I did. I've got my group sessions now. Okay, 6 o'clock, I start my group sessions, Mondays and Thursdays. So it starts to do its thing. I'm chilling. At this time, I'm just thinking, you know what? It's a risk, but it's a small risk, and I'm probably going to get taken out. I'm probably going to get clapped, but whatever. So I'm doing my session, finish the session now by 7:15 or so. I look at the charts and I'm like, it actually managed to hold. Okay, about 27 pips and profit at this point. It actually managed to hold. What else has now happened? We've now taken out this low in here, which gave me confidence. I said, we finally got that breaker structure that I was so interested in. Okay, we finally got that, boom, breaker structure. So now I'm thinking it could potentially come back up into this area and then fall down again. That would be great. And then, yeah, as you guys can now see, it starts to tumble. Didn't actually really want to come back into the area as aggressively first. Then we come back into it, still not as aggressively as I thought it would. Okay, and then from there, okay, I'm just gonna hit play at this point. Okay, we start to go into the Asia session. Okay, Asia session officially kicks in 10 p.m. UK. Okay, so that's here. So now we've got all these Asia session pricing. So it's gonna go back to the 1 hour. So this is what it now looks like. Okay, I'm gonna hit play a bit more. Okay, and now waking up, and we're all the way down here now. So we've taken that trade. Okay, we've taken that trade with our 7-8 pip stop loss, and now I've woken up in the morning, and we are now, okay, about 80 pips in profit. And it's NFP day as well. Okay, it's NFP day. So I'm just like, damn, I'm not sure what's gonna happen in NFP, but let me just put my stop in profit and just leave it there. If I could find a potential next entry, I will, which was right here. As you can see, I highlighted that zone. I said, you know what, for NFP, we could potentially come into this area here, boom, and then we can make that move to the downside as expected. So that's what I was waiting for. Okay, I was already in this trade from here. Great, put myself in the best case scenario. So NFP is about to kick in now. It's 12 o'clock. Okay, and then this happens. Okay, and I'm pausing right here because the next candle is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Okay, and I'm probably going to have to do this as well. So it's 12 o'clock. NFP is 1:30, and I'm thinking, yeah, for sure, it should pull up into here. And then the next candle, boom. Wow. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it. And I was with one of my friends from Birmingham. He came down to London and I told him I was on that trade and he entered literally about 20 minutes before this happened. And yeah, he uses very, very, very nice, juicy lot sizes also. So yeah, we were sitting down eating and we were just looking around the restaurant thinking, damn, this is a nice feeling. And to tap it, to kind of cap it off as well, there was a kind of two older white gentlemen. They were just kind of looking at us in a kind of racist, derogatory way. And we're just looking at them thinking, we could probably pay for everyone's meal in this restaurant right now. Okay. And also probably your kids. Okay. Like, I'm not sure what they do for a living and they probably, who knows, maybe they're millionaires or billionaires, but just the way they was looking at us. And I was just thinking, wow, this trading game really is crazy. It really is crazy. And I'm usually humble with what I do. But again, when I feel that kind of hate towards me, it kind of motivates me to do more, okay, to kind of change the narrative of things. And yeah, but anyway, that's for another section of our speeches and talks. Okay, so we're now in this trade, okay, and remember I entered this with an 8 pip stop loss. Okay, so now about 300 pips deep. Okay, very nice trade. Okay, no more to be said about that. The next hour, boom, we drop even more. Where are we heading down towards? Remember this area I was talking about? Like I say, I don't know when the gaps are going to get filled. I don't know how it's going to happen. I just know it's going to happen at some point. So guess what? Where are we now? Okay, where are we now? We're now in that range of the IPA. Okay, I hit the next candle. Boom, we're now in here. The time of the day starts to get late. It's that time of the day I stop trading. I'm not really interested. Okay, it's now hit our weekly objective on a Friday. Okay, goes further down. Now it starts to chill. The market starts to kind of chill, getting ready to close. Okay, then, and then you just saw the next step. But I was watching this all weekend. Okay, literally watching this all weekend, waiting for the market to open because I wasn't sure if I needed to catch a buy from here to take it back up into the zone or if it was going to go further down. Okay, and I'm going to delete these fibs now. So I wasn't sure. So as soon as the market was open, I was literally, what, 10:55. I was literally at my laptop just waiting. As soon as the market opened, boom. I couldn't believe it. In an hour, in 1 hour, okay, 875 pips. I couldn't believe it. All I wanted was it for it to come into here. Okay, that's all I wanted. At this point, I didn't have no TP or nothing. So when it made that move and tapped into this area, I just thought, yeah, it's time to take 90% of my trade off the table. Okay, it's time to take 90% of my trade off the table. Left 10% running. Okay, and then yeah, that trade right there, absolutely ridiculous. So again, remember that area we're talking about down here when I said in March/April, if we could even find it. Okay, let's just go straight into here. So cool. Remember this area here? So why did I measure this out? Okay, why did I even mark this out? Again, the same things we see all the time. We've got this IPA, we've got this down candle. And again, it's just that shape, the Wyckoff shape. Again, that will be another video. But I had this marked out. I said we should tap into there at some point. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen. I just knew it's going to happen. And then I also said, remember the start of this video, we also said that potentially we could take out these lows over here. So I was just waiting to see what's going to happen. But as soon as we tapped into it, just like this, and I saw this big rejection, that's when I took 90% off, left 10% of the trade running. And then, yeah, from there, that was a very great trade. Very, very, very great trade. So that was the story of how that trade was found and everything else in between it. Okay, so again, I'm going to be doing more case study videos like this. Okay, hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of those in due time. Just kind of setting a lot of things up now with the new space that we've got with the website and everything else. So things are not quite ready yet, but in due time, once they are, trust me, we're going full steam ahead. So until next time, thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and get this channel boosted. And again, like I said, you'll be seeing a lot more content just like this. So until next time, take care. Have a great day.